Justin, I know we basically avoided spiraling out of control by not doing a roaring reactions after that Chicago Bears game. But I did want to point out that my pick for the offensive game ball was T. Higgins, who had 7
Well,
catches for 121 yards and 2
yeah.
tutties.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I hope that you'll ignore the fact that I picked Jordan Battle, who had the missed tackle on the Loveland touchdown to end the game as my defensive player.
I
Defensive.
mean, look, at this point, I don't know what you can say anymore about this defense. They're making it harder and harder each week of who you want to like be sold on moving forward. But kudos to you, man, for getting the T. Higgins one right for the game ball. I mean, if you would have asked me after the Chicago game who would have gotten the game ball on offense, I probably would have leaned T. Higgins too, even though it's hard to argue Joe Flacco having 470 yards for the first time throw for over 400 yards in his career. That's insane. That's an insane stat that I couldn't even believe myself. But T. Higgins was obviously the great choice there. Personally, I would have leaned that way too.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like the tackle was pretty. The missed tackle was pretty bad. It just the frustrating part to me. Like I get Jordan Battle was trying to dislodge the ball, and I know that's what he was going for by hitting with his shoulders. But if you're having problems tackling all year, just wrap up the son
I
of
know.
a. Welcome back, Cincinnati Bengals fans. You once again are running through the jungle. I'm your host, Brandon Herriott, here with your host, Tim Lyons and Justin Lacey. What's up, fellas?
What it do? What it do?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ski.
We got Double A Austin's Art rocking with us once again, and I've started seeing him around a little bit here and there. The Quad Father, Dennis Pavlik. Welcome to the show, fellas. Hey, yeah. So not much has happened since the last time we got together. I mean, just um, I think
A
we
lot of
were all
losing.
frustrated. We were all frustrated after the Jets game, but the Bears game, new level, new level.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of losing, man. It just wasn't fun to be a Bengals fan around these times. Even with the anticipation of seeing Joe Flacco rejuvenate this Bengals offense. Nothing about this Bengals team was really fun to talk about outside of the offensive production, but it was just more of the, you know, same things, the same story as what we saw from last year. Great offense, bad defense, and we're losing games because of it. So, and it was against I mean, mainly the Jets being the worst team in football. But you follow that up with a monumental loss where you basically had the game 1-2 and you lost that game. So, yeah, this team is just not fun to talk about right now. But there is some exciting things on the horizon. Joe Burrow's now back at practice. So we'll see how that kind of unfolds as the rest of the season moves forward.
Yeah, unfortunately, Joe's not going to tackle anybody. That's the
Yeah.
that's the bad part. We'll miss that portion of the game anyway. Hey, I don't know if you guys got a chance to check it out, but Frank LaPlaca joined for a little state of the franchise show that he and I did. Um, he was kind of the first Bengals podcast I did was with him, and with him and Justin joined a couple. I think you've joined Frank a couple times as well. Um, Great guy. I love his takes. I needed some Frank LaPlaca in my life because it is a little more ray of sunshine than I am. So I needed that. I needed that pick me up. But don't know if you guys, either one of you, got to listen to it yet or anything, but just wanted to start off with your thoughts. Anything you want to add to the state of the franchise thoughts there, as far as where you see the Bengals at now and where we need to go? Tim, I'll start it off. What do you think?
Yeah, I did watch it. You guys did a great job. State
I
of the
just
Bengals.
mostly agreed with Frank.
Yeah, I realize that. No, I'm kidding. You guys did a great job. You dissected the defense really well. I like the plus and the minus of the end of the show that you guys did. But you guys were straight. You guys were right on. That defense is just, like I said, I was just on Let It Ride with Jeff Hartman, or I think it's Jeff Hartman with Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's one thing is like he asked me a question of who's a defensive player that is having a good season for you guys, and I'm just sitting here, picking my nose and trying to think of somebody. But DJ Turner has always came up to mind. We've always been talking about DJ Turner all season this year. He's that spark of that defense. Yeah, he has his good days and his bad days, but the state of the franchise, it really begins in the front office. That front office has failed us. Yeah, they did great. I'm glad they brought over Joe Flacco. We both have the Joes now. I don't really give a damn that Joe Burrow's back at practice. It doesn't matter because he's still going to lose with this defense that we have. Until that front office makes smart offensive or a smart offense. Oh my goodness, smart off-season defensive moves and drafting wise. That this is the way our franchise is going to go. It's going to continuously go this way. I know at one time Lou was our was my scapegoat for the reason why the defense was so bad. No, it's the personnel, it's the front office not bringing in the guys that we need to bring in. But that offense, though, on a positive note of the state of the franchise, that offense is looking good. I don't care if Joe Flacco or Joe Burrow's in there. I think they're going to continue to cook. We just need that damn defense just to, like Chase Brown said, just, one F and play. One F and stop. That's all we need.
Game.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you on Joe Burrow. I mean, anytime you see Joe back out there, it's great. But I mean, what else is he going to do? And the last game we threw for 470 yards, 4 touchdowns with Joe Flacco.
Right.
Still lost. Justin, your thoughts on the state of the franchise and where we're at and what you need to see going forward?
So I'm going to address the Joe Burrow being back at practice here for a second, just because there seemed to be a dividing line here between the Bengals fan base, especially if you're seeing them on Twitter or social media, whatever the case it may be. The one side of the fans is you're overly optimistic and thinking that, oh, we still have a chance. They have the meme that kind of shows up and be like, so you're saying there's a chance. You got that fan, okay? And this over egregious of just exuding all of this extra confidence that we're just going to walk out there and then just rattle off a ton of wins just because Joe Burrow's back in the building. Then on the other side, we have that super pessimistic fan that's just like, I don't even care. I don't even want to give a damn. Like, he shouldn't even come back and play. This team is garbage. There's no hope. We need to bottom out because Zach Taylor in the front office and Duke Tobin, we need to make changes. For me, I'm like right in the middle between both. I do feel the excitement of Joe Burrow coming back because, number one, he's coming back sooner than anticipated. He looks like he's on track to play the Thursday night game at Baltimore for the 4th straight year in a row, primetime at Baltimore. And I think that in my heart of hearts, that was always his target day to return, because I think that he still has it out for losing against the Ravens on primetime last year, even the year before, but mainly last year, because that was a game that, once again, last year that they should never have lost. You were up by 2 to 3 scores on them, and you basically just fumbled that ball away. No pun intended, because a fumble did happen and allow the Ravens to get back into it. But I'm also of the mind frame of, I don't really care if he comes back and play or not. I'm excited just to be able to watch Joe Burrow play football again, but I'm not excited because the rest of the team is just not disciplined enough. It feels like when I watch Zach Taylor coach this team, I'm going to steal a little bit of words from at least Jesse from the Sick podcast here. I feel like that I'm watching a team that's being led by a quarterback's coach. I don't feel like that there is accountability held over the entirety of the team. And I think that Joe Burrow coming back to practice is not going to absolve what I've been watching over the last several weeks regarding this team. Watching that Bears game, post game press, just watching the information regarding the defense post game after the Bears loss really, really got it to me because I'm like, there is not one single defensive player, in my opinion, that is taking any sort of accountability for the piss poor product of football that I've watched. And it seems like that Joe Burrow coming back is supposed to just throw a wet blanket over that. I'm not allowing that to happen either. So I can be excited for Joe Burrow playing football again, but I'm not going to bring this crazy lofty high expectations thinking that, oh my goodness, we're going to go on a 20-game winning streak and make the playoffs and win the division. Joe even said it himself. Dude, this team is not, we're not going to be a wild card team. If we have any hope of going to playoffs, we got to win the division. He is absolutely right in his post game. In his press conference when he spoke to the media yesterday and said, well, we have a shot. The division is wide open, and that's true. But we're going to talk about this game against the Steelers at Pittsburgh this time. And I don't know if things are going to be the same like it was 3 weeks ago when we beat them in our house. Baltimore is going to be on a tear, but yeah, they got a tough road game at Cleveland this time around. So yeah, the division is up in the air, but like at the end of the day, just because the record may indicate that, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the thing that how it plays out. But Joe Burrow comes back and play, it'll be worth the watch. I'm ready to get hurt again. I'll just put it that way.
You want to know my feelings on the state of the franchise? Listen to the other show. As far as Burrow being back, I mean, yeah, I like watching Joe Burrow play football. I don't think that's ever going to change. I liked watching him play football when he played for LSU. I'm liking playing for our team. Again, defense has to play better, has to take accountability. Lots of things I think need to change. I will say this. I did talk about wishing. I feel like, you said a quarterback's coach. I feel like I'm watching a coordinator. I want a CEO and a head coach, and I don't feel like I have them.
Absolutely.
So
That's
I agree with you
exactly
on
where
that.
I'm at. That's
I agree with you
exactly
on
where
that
I'm
part.
at. Mm-hmm.
All right, injury updates. A little bit of sitting out practice for rest, relaxation, yada yada yada. Minor injuries, nothing more than questionable except one guy. One guy's doubtful. Shamar Stewart is doubtful. Doubtful that anyone will notice? Question mark. Will anybody notice that Shamar Stewart is or is not in the game? Tim, what are your thoughts there?
Shamar Stewart's been an epic fail. He held out for that, time frame for no reason to prove nothing. He's proved nothing. He's not going to be missed. Who gives a shit if he's here or not? Trey Hendrickson's doubtful as well, they say. So, let's just hang our hope on. No, never mind. We're not hanging hope on nothing because where's this pass rush going to come from? I don't know. Maybe they'll get better pass rush on Madden than the Cincinnati Bengals do in real life. I don't know.
Yeah, not great. Justin, what do you think? Will you notice a difference with or without Shamar Stewart?
I would hope that I will notice a difference that somebody is not going to get taken 10 yards back behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, plowed forward from the old lineman like Shamar Stewart did against the Bears guard when he came in the game. He just got pal driven just like down 5 yards down the field. So it was
a rough look.
It was awful, man. And quite frankly, I'm just going to echo some of the same sentiments that Shamar Stewart has here. It's been a disaster of a rookie season for him. He did a lot of betting on himself in the offseason with the contract talk. Yeah, I know a lot of it had to be driven through the agent and the representation there that really set him up for negative success. But it also didn't put him in good graces with the fan base as well, too. Because it's like, dude, you did all that talking. You better show up and produce. And he has done anything but that. We thought that a couple of flash moments here in practice when he finally got on the practice field in training camp was going to be like, oh, this is what we were needing. This is what we needed to happen opposite along Trey Hendrickson. We can see the vision. And it just amassed to absolutely nothing, man. Like this dude over pursues his angles. He takes bad angles. He misses tackles. It's like he gets turned around so fast, and he's just not a great. He doesn't shed blocks. He just doesn't see where the play goes. So yeah, I don't think that he's absolutely going to do any justice here. In fact, no one's going to notice. Actually, I think people will notice that he's not on the field because he's just been playing bad. And I hate to be this critical of his rookie year because it is his first year. Typically, I like to give rookies a few years to develop. But dude, I'm in a state of mind where I'm just impatient when it comes to these draft picks, when it comes to these players, because I'm watching rookies on other defenses. Jahad Campbell for the Eagles looks like he's going to make defensive rookie of the year. I'm watching Nick Eamon for the Seattle Seahawks. I'm watching Mike Green, even though that he had a rough start coming on in the scene for our first few games. He's sort of finding his footing a little bit now in the pros. I'm watching Will Johnson, who dealt with damn near a chronic injury before getting drafted in the second round by these Arizona Cardinals. The list goes on and on in name. Xavier Watts, Jalen Walker. Like, there are guys that have been producing as rookies on defense or at least made flashes. Walter Nolan, I ain't going to forget that one, making plays on defense for their respective teams. Does that mean that the team themselves or the unit themselves is good? Probably not. But you've seen production. We have not seen any of that. This dude has a grand total of 2 tackles on a season, 0 pressure, 0 sacks, all of which was maligned in his college career. But we was thinking that the Bengals coaching staff said we anticipate production. Well, you're not getting it. So I think that people are going to notice that he's not on the field because he's been playing awful. But I also think that there's an opportunity here if you're talking on the defensive side of the ball, and we're going to segue into that here shortly, for some other guys to just finally just cut it loose. With both Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart doubtful, it's time to just cut it loose, man. You're bad to the bone, and this is time to go up from here.
Yeah, he has been a disappointment, but any of you that saw my comments brought to you by 80 Proof after my draft pick show pre-wedding, I mean, I don't know what you expected. You took a guy that had no production, looks great getting off the airplane. I mean, looks fantastic at the Underwear Olympics, but just doesn't produce on a football field.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem. And here we go. KP from KC5. Words right out of my mouth. Murphy is trash too. So
Seriously.
2 years in a row, they pick guys that are projects. They're defensive rushing projects. Miles Murphy came out with one damn move out of college. And that's where all his production was on. I don't know why they're not. It's the scouting to me. I know why. But you don't have a track record right now for taking on projects, whether it be from rookies or whether it be from people that have past issues, and taking them and making them productive on your team. Stop trying to do it. I don't know. That's just my thought.
It was a slam dunk opportunity in this past draft to where you could have gotten a number of guys that we were talking glowingly about. Nobody brought up Shamar Stewart. I don't remember anybody bringing Shamar Stewart on his podcast alone before the draft was hit. We talked about many other guys that had productivity that would have been instant impact. And it's not saying that you would have been like Pro Bowl level. We're just asking you to be just moderately to pretty solid. Okay. I don't think that's too much to ask for a rookie defensive player. Just don't be bad. And unfortunately, and it's not just Shamar Stewart, there's a lot of guys too that we can point at. This rookie class has just been a disaster, and it's just been flat out horrible. So I'll leave it at that for now, because I know we're going to get ready to roll into opportunities here for the defense.
Yeah. But we did start talking about it 2 years ago. If you're going to pay your big three over $100 million, you got to hit on draft picks, and we have not had a good track record of that so far. All right, let's go to the preview portion of are running through the jungle here. We have week 11 Pittsburgh Steelers 1:00 game where I'm at in Pittsburgh behind enemy lines. I will not be going to this game. I will be going to see Anissa's recital instead. And that's not a joke. I'll be able to watch the game or listen to the game and before the recital, but I'm not going to the game. It's not fun.
I don't blame
Let's talk about defensive opportunities. I want to start off with the hard questions. Justin, where do you see an opportunity for the defense here of the Cincinnati Bengals getting after this Pittsburgh Steelers offense?
Well, this Pittsburgh Steelers offense is also not good. They can't pass the ball down the field to save their lives. And I think that Aaron Rodgers is starting to look like old man Aaron Rodgers that needs to just go ahead and retire after this year because it didn't come together when I watched them on Sunday night against the Chargers. And even though they got a win against the Colts, which I did predict that was going to probably happen since they're at home, I just feel like that the Steelers team, they really just look very incompetent. This is the part of the year where we do start to see them break down and start losing some of these games. And then next thing you know, everybody that was so high on them early in the year, it's deja vu all over again to where you start fast, you start high, and then you just have this mid to late season collapse. I think we're about there with Pittsburgh, especially on offense. They're just not good on offense. So the opportunity on defense that you have here is you can play some bracket coverage and you can also single up some of these guys. DJ Turner is the one guy that I do trust to a certain extent. And even then, I say that very cautiously because there can be games where he can be dunked on. Like again, against the Chicago Bears in the Jets game, more specifically the Jets game, to where a halfback pass where he got dunked on by a rookie tight end and Mason Taylor. That happened on DJ Turner. But I still believe in DJ Turner overall skill set that he's finally starting to become and emerge, and it is what you would hope to a number one corner would look like. But that doesn't mean I trust the rest of the secondary, but there is opportunities for them to actually play some tighter coverage on some of these guys. The Pittsburgh offense features Jalen Warren to have halfback tosses to. Caleb Johnson, their rookie running back that they drafted, has pretty much been a disappointment for them. Steelers fans will tell you that. Their wide receiver core is only DK Metcalf, and then literally no one else. Scotty Miller is probably going to play, but we don't know. Roman Wilson is a guy that he's been coming on a little bit, caught a couple of big time plays from Aaron Rodgers, caught a touchdown in the last game there. But
2 straight games.
Is he somebody that you really fear right now? No, unless you're a Bengals defensive back, maybe. But
he's a nice complimentary piece for
he's
a
a nice
third, fourth
piece,
receiver.
but he's not a number 2. And quite frankly, I don't fear him not one bit. Their tight ends has just been lukewarm at best. Darnell Washington, it's like they're trying to force feed him the ball because he's this big, massive, large human being. And so, but the Bengals did really well when they played against Darnell Washington. Now they let up busted coverage on Pat Freiermuth, which that guy has been a disappearing act all year long until he played the Bengals. And then Aaron Rodgers just threw that last touchdown against the Bengals defense. And I was like, are you serious again? But I think that the Bengals are going to have their opportunities to once again probably get some turnovers in this game. But I do think that Mike Tomlin is also smart enough, and Aaron Rodgers is also smart that they're not going to play the same hand twice, especially when you're playing the same team twice. And this time they're in Pittsburgh. That field is not going to be easy to play on. It's going to be treacherous for this defense. So they got to button up and tighten up, man, because that offense they still know how to run the ball on you. So I do expect that to happen.
All right, Tim, where do you see some opportunities here for our defense against their offense for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
For them to show up. If the defense shows up, causes some turnovers, like the last time that we played against Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers will make errant throws. We saw that. We saw that last week against the Chargers as well, as Justin stated. Aaron Rodgers and that offense is just not. But then again, they are playing against the Bengals. We seem to make any team, doesn't matter if they're the 0-7 Jets or the 5 and whatever the hell they are, Steelers coming in, that we're coming into town. But I think the biggest opportunity is the turnover battle. If we can win that turnover battle and not let them, get that last possession, not let them get that that 3rd and 9 first down, that would be the biggest opportunity that we can have. But like, again, the biggest opportunity for me is that the Bengals defense shows up and Al Golden calls a smart defense against the Steelers. That's that's going to be the name of the game. What if we don't know who's going to show up? We don't know, how they're going to perform on the field. I'm starting to blame personnel on this side of the ball, but yeah, turnovers and showing up and playing some defense.
I think there's an opportunity here on the edge. Cedric Johnson, Joseph Osai, maybe even blitzing, whether it's Dax Hill or linebacker off the corner. I think getting after them on the edge, especially early, setting a tone that we will come after Aaron Rodgers. You saw his body language the last week. Not good, yelling at teammates, staring people down, MFing them. And then you saw Tomlin's press conference, and when he was asked about what he thought of Aaron Rodgers' game, and he basically said, "What'd you think of it?" So there's a little bit of animosity going on there. So I think early, get pressure early. You have an opportunity to get in their head, get them pressing, questioning. And between Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf, at any point in time, you could see a mental breakdown. You could see somebody throw a temper tantrum, basically. Here's a more obvious one, probably. Defensive concerns. Tim, what concerns do you have for us on defense here?
Just like we've seen it in the past, our run defense. So, are they going to be able to stop homeboy for the Steelers? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Jalen Warren. Yeah, Jalen Warren. Are they going to be able? Because last time we played him, Jalen Warren was running the damn ball on us. But my biggest major concern is the tight ends, is covering the tight ends. Our linebacker is going to be able to step up, or nickel corner, or whoever's going to be covering the tight end, Freiermuth or Washington, or who else they got? Jonnu Smith. I don't even know if he's still playing for them or not, but I think tight end play. I think if they keep that tight end play in check, which is always a major issue. This is the same thing. Like, I swear we can go back 3 years ago about us playing against the Steelers, and we're going to talk about the tight end, about someone covering the damn tight end. Right now we have 2 rookie linebackers in there, and also Warren Burke, but the linebacker position hasn't been the best, and they really need to step up. They need to help with the run support, and they also need to watch the middle of the field and not let Freiermuth and them bust loose.
Yeah, I think the linebacking core has definitely got more athletic, but they're definitely playing like rookies. Justin, where do you see the biggest concerns for our defense going into Pittsburgh?
Basically, just to add on top of that, man, this team can't rush the passer at all. They can't get sacks. The last time they played Aaron Rodgers basically just had 20 years in the pocket. It's like you can pretty much just simulate a full 20-year career in the pocket for how much time he had to throw. They didn't get pressure on him. It felt like that anytime somebody got close, they couldn't shed a block. We mentioned Shamar Store earlier in the show when we was talking about the state of the franchise. He was doubled up quite a bit. And even then when he was single coverage, he just got lost. Now they're going to be probably without Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart, which Shamar Stewart, we already talked about ad nauseum. I don't care about as much. But yeah, Miles Murphy's just been a vast disappointment. I don't like what I'm seeing from him. I don't know what I'm going to get with Cedric Johnson, even though I do like the opportunity potentially there. The defensive line as a whole is just absolutely just an abomination. They can't stop the run. TJ Slayton has been a major disappointment of a free agent signing. I'm happy that he's playing, but he is not Larry Ogunjobi. He is not DJ Reader. And it just seems like that no matter how much hope that we bring into them potentially stopping the run, it just doesn't happen. They just don't get tackles for loss in the backfield. My major concern is that they are going to just gash us on the ground again. And if they're smart enough, they'll stick to the run in this game, which they probably might as well do. This is probably one of those games where it'll be ugly. It will be just nasty, smash mouth, grinded out football like Pittsburgh Steelers have they always been. And if they get a little too cute, that's where they'll mess up. And I'm talking about the Steelers here. But yeah, the main concern for me is just they can't get after the passer, man. They can't get the guy on the ground. What I saw from the Steelers against the Chargers defense is absolutely great at what they're doing. Okay. Now, are they top 5 in the league? Probably not, but they have some guys there. Khalil Mack, he's the leader of the charge there. They got guys in the secondary that can lock you down. You got guys on the edge that can get after you. Their linebacking core, the middle of the defense. That's not the Bengals defense here. Okay. The thing that really concerns me is that they just can't rush the passer. They can't get the man on the ground. And even when they played against Caleb Williams 2 weeks ago, Caleb Williams had damn near all day in the pocket. He just has poor pocket presence to where it looks like that he didn't look like he knew how to. He was getting rushed, bull rush when he wasn't. And then they didn't even get after Justin Fields, the worst offense in football. And I don't think that the Steelers' offensive line is all that great, to be honest. But I think that they're going to play better this game because they're going against the Bengals' defensive line. So main concern is they also can't rush the passer either, in addition to everything that Tim just highlighted.
I'll keep it nice and short. 2 words: missed tackles. That's it.
Perfect.
That's it. Tackle
You can't even-
somebody, for Christ's sakes. Get them down the first time you have an opportunity. This is crazy.
Yeah. I can't even believe that. Out of all that ranting that I did, that we both like, that I didn't even bring up the words missed tackles, not one bit.
Missed
Because
tackles.
that is the theme of this defense. They missed
Holy
so
cow.
many tackles.
If you look like it, and I don't listen, we talk about it ad nauseum. PFF is a resource that's out there. It's not the best resource in the world. Some of it's really I don't kind of get. But when they miss tackles is a pretty simple one. And when you start looking at most the linebackers with most missed tackles were at the top of the list. Safeties with the most missed tackles were at the top of the list. Not good. Not good. And by the way, it's not one of them at the top of the list. Oh, no. Don't be lonely. We got both linebackers. We got both safeties at the top of that list. Both of them in top 5 constantly all year.
Do you ever think that maybe they should look at bringing Dax Hill back as a safety?
It was brought up the other day. I think that his best spot is on nickel corner.
Mike Hilton's position? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably his best spot on the field. That said, I think he played safety better than we're getting safety played right now.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And we ran him out of the building. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
whatever. I digress. Hey, we've reset Mark, though. We got to take a quick break. We're going to hear from our sponsors. We appreciate you guys rocking with us as always. No matter where you're listening to us, please give us that like, that thumbs up, that subscribe, rate, review, share us, tell a friend to tell a friend. We'll be right back after these messages. And we are back here with Runnin Thru the Jungle. We've gotten through our defensive side of the analysis, but now let's get into a little bit more of the fun side, if you would, the offensive side. Offensive opportunities. Tim, where do you see the biggest opportunities for our offense here against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense?
Well, as we've known in the past, we'll talk about a couple of weeks ago against the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have a kryptonite. His name's Jamar Chase. I think our biggest opportunity is getting Jamar Chase the damn ball every opportunity that they get. I don't know where Jalen Ramsey is these days because I don't remember him playing
full time right now.
Okay, well, he's safety, corner. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, they had Elliott. Elliott, their safety, got hurt, and they've moved.
And then they kicked one of them out the door too. They got rid of one, and then I know Darius Slay. Is Darius Slay playing safety or is he playing corner? And I think he was in a concussion protocol as well. I don't remember if I seen the report earlier today, but anyways, our biggest opportunity is Jamar Chase. Get him the ball often. and then get T. Higgins the ball, get T. Higgins the ball often as well. Get JPJ frustrated, having him make stupid ass pass interference calls on him because that's what he likes to do. He likes to get too handsy. We see it in every damn Pittsburgh Steelers game. Don't matter if they're playing against the Bengals or if they're playing against the Chargers. JPJ will get too handsy and they'll get frustrated and pissed off. But again, our biggest opportunity is getting Jamar Chase the damn football.
I completely agree. All right, Justin, what are your thoughts here on the biggest offensive opportunities for the Bengals?
Man, it amazes me how much things have changed for the Steelers defense. They don't feel like the steel curtain defense like you've known it to be accustomed to for many years. And it's not going to be much different from what I'm seeing from the first matchup to this matchup. I think that they have proven that they can't cover Jamar and T. Higgins, mainly Jamar, obviously. And if you have the opportunity to get those guys out in space, you give them the ball. I know you highlighted Jamar, Tim, but I'm going to highlight T. Higgins too. T. Higgins almost, in my opinion, has the better day against Pittsburgh than Jamar does. It seems like that during the Joe Burrow's heyday, there are times where he just aims after T. Higgins just because he knows that they're going to find that soft zone and they're going to play him looser. They're going to try to single him up where they play bracket coverage on Jamar Chase. They've been trying that strategy for a long time, and it just hasn't really worked out for them in their favor. And I also think that another opportunity here is the tight ends. I think that Noah Fant can be the great equalizer to where Pittsburgh, especially at home, their defense plays really good at home. They're going to make a conscious effort to do everything in their power to stop the passing attack of this Bengals offense led by Joe Flacco and company. And I think that one of the things that's going to slip through the radar is Noah Fant catching seam balls down the field. I think you can have an opportunity to expose the middle of the field with them because, as you guys just already mentioned, their safeties and their corners are really hurt right now. They just released Juan Thornhill, so they're probably going to bring up Jabril Peppers. Even though Jabril Peppers really hasn't been playing all that great, they traded for Kyle Duggar, but I don't know if he's even saw the field as much. And then, yeah, they got Jalen Ramsey back there playing safety, which fine. That's a place where if you're a corner that looks like that you're past your prime, you go play safety because that's basically the end of your career at that point. And I think that the Bengals offense, especially the passing attack, can really stress the secondary of the Steelers, but they just got to make sure that opportunity is met. Also, what can help them out is running the ball. You have to stick to the run just like you did in the first game because the Steelers that caught them off guard in that first matchup. They were so hell bent on the Bengals passing the ball, trying to get the ball in space that they forgot. Well, the Bengals can probably run the ball too with Joe Flacco and company. So with that being said, get Chase Brown the ball, get him some carries. This sucks because this is where I really did appreciate the value of Samaj JP, Ryan, and I'm sure and I know he's dealing with that injury, but I think that Chase Brown is good enough to be able to carry the workhorse for the duration of this game to where you're going to be able to utilize him more effectively to set up some strong play action passing attacks and then just keep them off balance like you did in that first matchup. Their defense hasn't gotten much better since then. In fact, it's kind of gotten a little bit worse. I still believe that pass rush of the Steelers is going to be pretty strong. They're going to get after you. And if you don't keep them on their heels, they're going to just tee off all day. Do not make it a close game if you're the Bengals offense. Score quickly and stay out in front of these guys.
I like what you said there about they were really concentrating on the passing game of the Bengals, opened up for some of the running game. I think that's a really good setup here. I like the pass to set up the run in this game versus the other way around because with their injuries in the defensive backfield, changing positions around here, and they got a new safety and Kyle Duggar starting. They're moving Jalen Ramsey around. Slay is questionable. Trice is out. Like there's a lot of moving parts going on there. So I think they're going to put a lot of time and effort into we need to stop Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. So I think you can kind of use the pass to set up the run here. Cannot abandon the run, though. Cannot abandon the run. Cue Tim and his run the damn ball meme, right?
Run the damn ball.
So I think that's key,
Mhm.
But I think the opportunity, I don't think they have the defensive backfield to keep up with this. If we get any blocking whatsoever, I think the offensive line over the past couple of weeks has started gelling together a little bit better, have
Yeah.
looked a little bit better. So if we get a little protection here, it could be a large day for that defensive backfield.
Mhm.
What about concerns? Do you have concerns for our offense and how we match up here? Justin, I'll start it off with you. You got any concerns with our offense going against their defense?
Yeah, and it's the left side of the O line. Orlando Brown Jr. has been getting like pummeled with the last few weeks. And I do have my major concerns that the Steelers is going to watch film and see that. And then they're going to roll pass rushing units over to that side. It may not be TJ Watt. Quite frankly, I don't even think that TJ Watt's going to move very much in this game. I think he's going to just stay rushing from the left side going against Amarius Mims, and that's fine. You can stay your ass there. But Alex Highsmith on Orlando Brown Jr., yeah, I got a little bit of a concern there because I don't think Orlando Brown Jr. has been meeting up to those expectations since we got him that deal. And it has really kind of reared its ugly head a little bit in that Chicago game. He just got blasted for like just not even a second coming out of his stance. He got blasted and pummeled, threw him backwards, and then Joe Flacco gets sacked. Dude, you had a bad game, like pretty brutal game against the Bears. And don't get me wrong, you're going to have some warts here and there, but you can't be that bad. And it's crazy because I'm saying this about Orlando Brown Jr., somebody that we gave a 4-year, $64 million contract to. And I think that he's supposed to be the guy that solidifies the left side, be one of the captains and the leaders of this team. And yeah, he just hasn't played like it. So I do have my number one concern that the pass rush may be a little bit too much to handle because when Pittsburgh's pass rush start getting going, they tee off and they get going in waves because it's not just obviously with Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt, of course, but you got Cam Hayward putting pressure up the middle. Keanu Benton, who also got a sack last time we played each other. That dude's coming on. And Loudermilk, I don't even know if Loudermilk is still even on that team. I just know that that's the name that Pittsburgh's always had in that defensive line room. They did just get rid of their third-round pick, DeMarvion Leal. They got rid of him, but he hasn't really produced. He's kind of like the Miles Murphy for them, and they decided to cut bait and move on and just think like, we're not. This is not worth it. And Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen is a guy that you got to keep eyes on. I'm not saying that Patrick Queen is this super thumper of a linebacker. He's not, in my opinion. But if you don't bring that extra protection when he comes and shoot the gap up the middle, Ted Karras will whiff on those blocks. We don't have Alex Cap anymore. Dylan Fairchild could whiff on that block being a rookie. Now, they did pretty solid against them the last time they played them. So I'm not too worried about that. But at the end of the day, my only concern is if Pittsburgh's pass rush starts to tee off and they have like, 1 or 2 sacks in a row, you know how that crowd can get going, especially when TJ Watt gets a sack. He's going to be right there making a play too. And the next thing you know, this offense is going to stall out a few times in this game. So that's my main concern is Pittsburgh's pass rush going against the left side of the Bengals offensive line.
All right, Tim, your concerns for our offense matching up against their defense.
Yeah, I pretty much echo what Justin says. Our offensive line, they just need to protect Joe Flacco, keep him upright. Even if it's, I know Amaris Mims has been, he's been pretty successful against TJ Watt, but, sometimes a dog finds his bone. So, we also got to worry about the right side. And then we also got to worry about our guards because, we have rookie guards. I don't know who's playing right guard these days. I don't know. I don't know if it's Reisner or Patrick or what's his name, the rookie from that one college. I can't remember what his name is. But anyways, I think it's just the biggest thing is just keeping Joe Flacco upright, making those holes so they can run the damn ball. Just if they can give Joe enough time to throw that football, because Joe's pretty fast when he's throwing the football, and give him, enough time to make quick decisions, smart decisions. I think that's the biggest, the key factor is that offensive line, not just the pass game, but also the run game and making those holes.
Were you looking for Jalen Rivers?
Yeah, that's who it was, Jalen Rivers. because they moved
Yeah,
him from
there's a
tackle to
kid out of
guard.
kid from Miami in college. He started at offensive guard, moved to tackle, and then we've since moved him back into guard. I gotta be honest with you. First game and a half, probably, I thought like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. But after that, man, he's played pretty solidly. I've been
Well,
pretty
and that
pleased with
offensive
him.
line, and that offensive line has been playing pretty solid. You know, they've been protecting Joe, pretty good to give up a sack, give up, a sack here and there. You know, they've been doing fairly well. The last time we played against the Steelers, they did fairly well as well. But we just need to continue that effort and just protect Joe at all times and make those holes.
I think the concern is always going to be, I mean, has been for a while and still remains protection. Run blocking and protection. It's going to be the offensive line. It's going to be the concern. One of the things, like, they had a lot of moving pieces with this offensive line, and it takes those guys some continuity. They got to play together. I think a lot of people take for granted how much communication goes on between the offensive linemen, passing off stunts, moving, blocking to right, left, or staying in their gaps. Like, there's a lot that goes on there, right? And so I expected them to get better as that. I wasn't going to start grading them until really week 5 or 6. All that went out the window when Joe got hurt because I just knee-jerk reaction and screaming, yelling at my TV. I also think that they've benefited from gelling together and having Joe Flacco, who's not going to pull a Houdini and escape out of the pocket like Joe Burrow would and try to make the big play. Pretty much when the pocket breaks down, he's taking 2.5 steps to his right or 2.5 steps to his left and throwing the ball away or throwing it at the screen receiver or his outlet's feet. I mean, how many times have we seen him do that? I think that's helped them a lot too. But I do think the concern is just blocking. It's still the Steelers defense. I still want to get after it. All right. My personal favorite part of running through the jungle. Predicciones. I did good with the offensive last time. T. Higgins killing it for me. Defensively, I don't even know how you give game balls out when you give up 47 points. Any Hoosies. Let's go defensive game ball prediction. Justin, I'll let you start us off. Who you got to get the game ball and why?
I'm not giving it to a single player. I'm going to give it to Al Golden. I think that this is the game that coming off of the bye, if you're going to show that you're going to really complicate some things and make things better as an overall unit, then you deserve to get my game ball. Because I've been critical of Al Golden too, okay? And it's not because I don't think that he didn't, he's not the only one that deserves blame, as what we talked about before when it comes to the state of the franchise. The letdowns of the whiff draft picks, all that stuff. Right now, you can't really put that on Al Golden. But we were told that things were going to be a little bit simpler for this defense to play faster, but they're not. They're still playing bad. Well, the bye week came and went, and now there's an opportunity for you to start playing faster now. Let's see that you mixed some things up since then. You had a whole week to prepare. Having a whole week off, I should say, had a whole week to prepare for this upcoming game, okay? Nobody played football, so nobody shouldn't have gotten hurt. You brought the energy and the juice now that Joe Burrow's coming back to practice now. Let's see if the defense will be rejuvenated by this. I should give it to Joe Burrow, even though he's not on defense. But I'm going to give it to Al Golden because I think that he's going to get enough production in this game from defense as a unit for me to just not be able to give it to one particular person, but for just say hey, I appreciate finally the unit stepped up this week, even though we still going to have our reservations and our questions. So that's my prediction for game ball on defense.
Man, am I rooting for you to win that. I hope your prediction is right. And listen, I think Al Golden needs to get a game ball, or if he doesn't, he may be getting some gift certificates to 2 Men in a Truck. Tim, who's your game ball for the defense predictione?
It's hard. It is really hard to just give these game balls away because, especially when it comes to the defense, it's been disappointment week after week after week. The only time that we really had a really good game ball was against the Steelers when we won that game and got 2 interceptions.
Hey, you reach your hand down in that bag of hope and you come out with a name.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say, the guy that I've been talking about, DJ Turner. He's gonna get my game ball. I think he gets a interception or even just a batted ball, makes a crucial play during this game. Like I said, interception or pass deflection. He's got his work cut out for him against if he's teaming up against DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, whatever. I watched him fumble the ball the other week. But, I'm going to say DJ Turner.
Calvin Austin going against DJ Turner. Calvin Austin is very quick. DJ Turner is extremely quick and fast. That doesn't worry me. I'll tell you what, man. I'm going to manifest something here. Kind of like Justin tried to. Nobody watching over his back anymore. Came in, took time away from the captain. Captain asked for a trade. Captain got traded. Barrett Carter, time to show up. I think he's got a good opportunity here to do it because of the way, as you guys have alluded to earlier, with Warren, they like to pitch the ball outside the tackles. Barrett Carter, very athletic, can go side to side. I think that's a strength for him in this game. I think he can get a lot of tackles in this game. And I do know this about Aaron Rodgers. He loves to throw the ball over the middle. So when he's trying to throw that ball over the middle, rather it be a slant, rather it be a tight end, a sit route or a choice route, I think Barrett Carter can get a tip ball interception. I'll call it Barrett Carter, 12 tackles and an INT.
Nice.
I almost got myself to believe it.
we need that, man. We need it.
I'm just wondering what's in your cup that you're drinking.
This is actually water.
Oh,
it's almost gone too.
Oh, okay.
That's parched. All right, offensive game balls. Tim, we'll run it backwards here. We'll let you start this one off. Who do you got getting your offensive game ball and why?
I'm gonna go with. So Samaje Perine, he's probably out, unfortunately. Chase Brown is going to be our number one guy. Maybe we'll see some Taj Brooks in there. Of course, like I said, we got to get the ball to Jamar Chase early and often. I'm going to give my game ball prediction is going to be to T. Higgins. I think T. Higgins busted loose because that defense is going to be focused on Jamar Chase. And I think it's going to give T. Higgins just that opportunity to catch them off guard and bust loose for a touchdown. So I'm going T. Higgins. I'll say he has 98 yards receiving and a touchdown.
I can dig it. Be 2 games in a row he'd win it. Justin, who you got getting your offensive game ball? What do you think about it?
I think the Bengals help out Joe Flacco and play smash mouth football with this one. And I'm going to go with Chase Brown. I think he's going to have about 150 all-purpose total yards. That's both rushing and receiving. I do think he gets in the end zone a couple of times too. This is going to be a heavy conscious effort to try to take T and Jamar out of the game. Usually that single coverage with Joey Porter Jr. on T. Higgins and then bracket coverage on Jamar. Sometimes they'll even try to mix them up. The secondary's weakness, and albeit, yes, the passing attack is one of the strongest opportunities that the Bengals have in this game. I think that can also set well up for a trap because Pittsburgh's defense can also morph into something a little bit better to kind of get you off your spot a little bit. And then their pass rush can start teeing off. But what can you do to combat that strength is just running the ball. And I think that you have the opportunity to do that the most by just running the ball better. And Chase Brown is very elusive. He knows how to break some tackles. He ran really well against the Steelers the last time these two teams played. And I think that he will continue that. It may not just be a running a full-blown rushing attack all day, but I think that his production out the backfield is going to help out tremendously. And with Flacco's arm, I don't really know how that's going to ultimately look. I do think that they just need to help him out a little bit. And I think that Chase Brown is the one that does it for him.
I also have Chase Brown. For a different reason, a little bit. A different way to the same answer to the question, if you would. I have him getting 170 total yards and 2 touchdowns. 108 on the ground, 62 in the air. The past couple weeks, past couple games, he has been very close to busting out on one of those slip screens. And I think here's an opportunity he might be able to get that. Jalen Ramsey's going to be very aggressive. You can catch him out of alignment, and the linebacker. Patrick Queen's been fairly good, but that other middle linebacker spot's been a little bit questionable for the Steelers. So I think that will be a good one. And I think this is a game after Chase Brown makes those comments, after the game, and Zach Taylor talked to him about it, addressed it in the media. I think this is a game where he needs to come out and he needs to be there for his teammates and show out a little bit. So I think he'll put a little bit extra oomph into it. I like Chase Brown to get it. All right. Last but not least, score predicciones. Justin, start us off. What's your score prediction? Oh,
Look, I know that I've been I was going to be on a pessimistic wagon and think to myself, man, the season's over. This defense absolutely has no hope. And that this can be an easy spot to where Pittsburgh can easily get their get back and then kind of, just go crazy on the Bengals defense and a nice, comfortable win for them. I think that the Bengals actually stand tall here, and I think that they get the season sweep over the Steelers. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game because games in Acrisure Stadium / Heinz Field is never high-scoring when it comes to this Bengals team against Pittsburgh. I think it's one of those grinded-out games where Pittsburgh's defense, I do expect them to play way better against the Bengals offense this time around. And it just gets mucked up. And we're going to be frustrated. Joe Flacco may have a fumble, may have an interception in this game. But I think that the defense will match that intensity a little bit there too. So with that being said, I'm going to go with the score prediction of 20-16 Bengals.
Ooh, all right. Tim, you followed suit, taking the Bengals to sweep the Steelers this season.
Well, I agree with Justin about us playing in Pittsburgh. It's kind of it's kind of been like a low scoring, effort, maybe about 40 total points for the game. I think the over under was like 43 or 44 points for this game. I forget what it is. But I think it's under. I think it's going to be something like, I don't know. I'll say 20. We'll say 21. You know what? I'll say a 21-20 game. Well, no. You know what? No, that doesn't sound right. We'll say 21-17 game. And I'm picking the Steelers.
Ooh. All right. I don't have that much faith in either one of these defenses. I don't think that it's going to be under. I think it's going to be over. Not supposed to rain on Sunday here in Pittsburgh either. That's going to get out of the way on Saturday. Unfortunately, Notre Dame and Pitt play here on Saturday, so they might beat up that field. That could be a little bit of an issue. That said, I think that favors our wide receivers. If it's not raining and the field's a little bit beat up, because they know where they're going, the defense does not. So it's going to be harder to react. I'm going to go 31-23 Bengals. There's no damn way that I'm going to sit here and take the Steelers and then go on the Steel Curtain Network on Friday and talk smack. I'm taking the Bengals. Get that win. All right. Any final words, comments? Anybody want to share anything, say anything? You got the floor before we go.
Come check Justin and I out on Friday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, we'll be doing our NFL Friday Night Pick'em show here on Running Through the Jungle. You know, if you're not a Bengals fan and you don't want to come subscribe to us because we're just covering the Bengals, you guys can come over and listen to us about the whole NFL, you know, and then, of course, go out and see Brandon on Friday nights on the Homies. You know, they do a round table, kind of talk about the whole entire league as well in the games. They don't just cover AFC North football; they actually go over the whole NFL as well. So go out there and give him support as well. But yeah, but come check Justin and I out on Friday night as well.
Yeah, man.
Justin, what you got?
Yeah. I mean, you just kind of like just adopt, copy and paste.
Copy and
um,
paste.
yeah, I mean, Tim and I got a nice little fun race going, but you know, this past week's pick'em spread, I absolutely did atrocious. And it's one of those weeks where it's like, oh boy, I can't believe I picked those games. And I can't believe that that's what the slate of games looked like. We have fun on the show. So we got to do something to kind of tie us through this mopey season that's been the Bengals season. So we're just going to just level up our game a little bit and then just talk some regular NFL football. So yeah, definitely check us out Friday night, 6:30.
For
Eastern
those of
time.
you watching, I know it's a couple years old, but the little support the troops things. Hope all you veterans had a great Veterans Day. Tim, thank you for your sacrifice, my friend.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And last but not least, I'd be remiss since the last time we were on here, a Bengals legend has passed. R.I.P. Bob Trumpy, and best to all of his family. Great tight end, even better announcer, and from what everybody's always said, even better guy. So R.I.P. And yeah, till next week. Come back here again next Wednesday. The crazy part of my schedule is over with, so we should be here regularly 8:05 Wednesday night, and you can catch us out as we are running through the jungle.